Mrs. V here, going to be reading from Jacqueline Wilson's The Suitcase Kid. If anyone's read it already, that's great, highly recommend, but I'm going to be reading from a chapter called The Garden. Each chapter is a big letter from the alphabet, and that's how they're all named. So G is for garden. I come home from school by myself now. There isn't anyone to give me a lift. I have to walk down Seymour Road and round Larkspur Lane and up Victoria Street into the town. I go to the bus station, and then when I'm staying with Mum, I get a 29 as far as the Cricketers pub, and then I have a 10-minute walk. I have to get 2 buses when I'm at my dad's, a 62 and a 44, and then a 15-minute walk even after the 2 bus rides. I'm exhausted when I get back, I'm telling you. I'd go crazy if I didn't have Radish to talk to on the way. Once or twice, just at first, I got lost and forgot the way and got that horrible swirly feeling in my stomach. I had to clutch Radish tight to stop myself crying. Then I calmed down and asked for a safe-looking lady with children to show me the way to the bus station. Then another time, my purse must have fallen out my coat pocket, because when I was queuing up for the bus, I went to get my money and my purse had gone. I thought for a moment I'd lost Radish too, but then I found her clinging to the pocket lining. She made me feel a bit better, but I still don't know what to do. She could simply have told the bus driver I'd lost my purse, but I was scared he'd get cross. He was one of those big fat men with a frowny face. But I didn't have to ask him in the end, because an old lady who had been watching me frantically searching my pockets. "What's up, dear? Lost your bus fare? Here, don't you fret. I'll pay for your fare today." I was very grateful and asked Mum for extra bus fare the next day to pay her back. Mum got ever so fussed when she found out what had happened. "Oh, poor old Andy, you must have been so worried. Oh dear, I do hate it that you have to come home by yourself now. Mum can't come and get me because she works 9 to 5 in a chemist shop now to pay the bills. I wish she'd chosen a more exciting shop, like a cake shop or a toy shop or a pet shop. You can't get very excited when she brings home half-price loo rolls and stale cough sweets." "I've been coming home from school by myself since I was 6 years old, Auntie Carol," said Katie smugly. "That doesn't count. Your stupid old school is just down the road. A baby of 6 months could crawl it," I said. "I wish you'd swap with Katie's school, Andy," said Mum. "It would be so much more sensible. But if I went to Katie's school, then it would take me hours and hours to get there, when I'm staying at Dad's," I said. "Well, all this toing and froing is getting ridiculous anyway," said Mum. "You're getting worn out, Andy. I'm thinking about you, darling. It would be so much better if you settled down in one place for a while and went to the local school." "That's what Dad says too. He wants me to settle down with him and go to Zen and Crystal's school," I said. "I'm not going to any other old school. I like my school, even though it isn't really the same anymore. Eileen isn't the same, and teachers aren't the same. They made a bit of a fuss about me at first when Mum and Dad split up, but now they often get cross with me. I forget to do things, or I lose my books and I don't listen in lessons. 'If you'd only try to concentrate, Andrea,' they'd say. I am concentrating, but it's not often on lessons nowadays. There's only one good thing about all these boring journeys to and from school. I've discovered another mulberry tree. It's in a garden in Larkspur Lane, so I get to see it whether I'm living at my mum's or living at my dad's. It's not as nice as our mulberry tree at Mulberry Cottage, of course. It's very old and gnarled and bent over, but it still grows a lot of mulberries. I watched them ripening from red to purple to bright black and brimming with juice. No one seemed to be picking them. The grass grew lavishly, and the flowers were in tangled clumps, and the creepers were crawling all over everywhere. Perhaps no one was living there anymore. I peered over the high fence every day, trying to see the house, though it was hidden by another tree. I never heard a radio or saw a deck chair out in the garden. I started to lean right over the gate, peering in. Sometimes I got Radish out so she could peer too. The garden would be fairyland for Radish. She could track through the trees and the grass, playing jungle explorers, swinging on the creepers like a tiny Tarzan, and she could eat the mulberries. My mouth watered as I looked at those great big berries. One day, I couldn't stand it any longer. I got my leg up over the gate. I jumped down. I reached the mulberry tree. I snatched a handful of berries, and I rushed back. I scratched my hand on the tree and banged my shin badly climbing back over the gate, but I had the mulberries safe in my hand. I crammed them into my mouth, and the juice spurted all over my tongue, and I closed my eyes because it was just like being back at Mulberry Cottage. I still stop at Mulberry Garden every day, and mostly sip inside to get some mulberries.